I don't want to start.
Okay, well, we're live on Facebook, and Shai just had to run and go tell somebody something. But welcome to our Power Hour today. It's May 12th, 2021. It's a new year. It's a new me. I just got done doing smudging the streets, not judging the streets. In Worley, Idaho, we had our tribal people were going up and down the streets, smudging and singing and praying. So, you know, I got some exercise. I got to be outside in the sun. But I just want to welcome everybody to today's Power Hour. And hello, my friends. My Indian name is Chestenma. My English name is LoVina Louie. My heart is very happy to be here today with you guys. I have some awesome guests today that are going to be talking about being a single parent and what that means and how they deal with it, and how, you know, like being a single parent obviously is a challenge, but these two are one of the best parents I know, and they're amazing. I've watched them grow up. I've mentored them. They're just a big part of my heart. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start off today, and I'm going to have both of them introduce themselves, and then Shai's going to start us off with a song. So, all right, so we'll start off. And Ray, do you want to introduce yourself? And then Shai, you can go right after Ray and sing us a song.
Good Galindo. Good evening or good afternoon. My name is Ray Galindo from Salt River, Arizona, Salt River, Pima, Maricopa Indian community, Akima Awesome. I am here. I'm a single father of two boys, my son who is 12 years old and Royal who is 5 years old.
Hi, everybody. My name is Cheyenne Meshell. First, let me introduce myself in my language. Cheyenne Meshell. My daughter's name is Journey, and I'm coming to you guys live from Plummer, Idaho. And to open us up, I'm going to sing us a song and just kind of set the vibes for the day, and just, you know, sending a lot of love out to you guys. Yeah, wait, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, wait, oh, hey, oh, wait, oh, hey, oh, hi, wait, hi, oh, hey, oh, you way, hi, wait, yeah, yo way, hi, out with a way, hi, oh, hey, hell. Wait, oh, hey, oh, wait, oh, hey, oh, hi, oh, wait, hi, oh, hey, hell. Yo way, hi, out with a yo way, hi, out with a hey, hell. Guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Shai, for that beautiful song. And Shai is one of the drummers with Rose Creek, and there's some smudge for you guys. Clear our hearts and our minds. Let us have a good power hour today. So the reason why I asked you guys to be a part of today's power hour is because I think it's really important for people to understand, you know, what a single parent goes through. You know, I mean, I'm sure like when you guys were little, you didn't like say, oh, when I grow up, I want to be a single parent, right? Like that, you don't do that. You know, this is something that one of those, you know, things that just hits you, and maybe you weren't ready for it, you know, but it happened, and now you have these beautiful little babies that you have the opportunity to influence and to love. So let's start off with Ray. How did you become a father?
I guess I became a father at 20 years old. So I mean, I became a father pretty young. It was something after high school, I guess it wasn't something I planned for sure, but it's something that had happened. I have a boy, his name is my son. In the beginning of the whole, being with mom and stuff like that, I kind of already seeing it being a rocky situation. But I guess as for a dad, we should take it back to, when I was a kid, I didn't really have a dad figure around as a kid, so growing up, like you said, it wasn't something that you said, hey, I'm going to be this and that. But growing up, I realized like I didn't want my kids to feel how I felt not having a dad, especially being a boy. I was raised by a single mom with 2 brothers. So it was me and my 2 brothers. We never had a father figure around, so. And I remember being a kid wanting to be around my father, but it wasn't like a mutual thing. And as a kid, you're not, you don't understand things like that. You don't understand what's going on in adult life and things like that. So me being a single parent, I think, when I had my son, I knew that I just always wanted to be there for him. I always wanted to give him what I didn't have, I guess, as a father wise and a father figure. So that's just where I guess my strive come is from not having a dad around, to seeing what impact it, not, I would say a dramatic impact. My mom did a good job, but it would have been nice to have somebody, a male protector around, someone that knows that, hey, that they are going to be around and things like that. And like I said, that was my first child is 2009. And I had another boy in 2016 and same situation, you just learn as a parent to put the kids first. And that's one of my things is always putting my kids first with, my son and Roy. It was always realizing that they didn't ask to be here, so it's our job and our responsibility to make sure that they're given the things, the tools, the things that they need in life to succeed. So that way they're not growing up and figuring out like, hey, I wish I had this or I wish I had that. I don't want them to, it's something that like I said, as a dad, I want to remove that obstacle as, my boys do have a dad. It's something I want to change, in our generation. I want to change that.
Yeah, definitely. And, and you just have to, when it happens, you just have to do it.
You roll it. Yeah, you do it. Like I didn't, like I said, decide to be a single father one day, but realizing that, it's different relationships. I'm not trying to talk bad about, other parents, because one parent I do have a great co-parenting relationship with. Another one, it's not so great at all. So you take what you get, but you, like I said, you just make it where it doesn't affect the kids, like that they don't see what's going on and that they're being protected. Because, being a kid, you're kind of naive into what's going on. But as you get older, you realize, who was there for you, what was, actually real, what was taught, and like I said, like, I'd rather choose my kids' happiness and well-being now until later than, being in a situation where I had to, be the mother's caretaker as well, because she had, they have different, how would you say it, negative things that going on in their life, I would say, So like, as a father, you just have to choose to be there for them so that way you're not distracting them with the negative things.
Right. Well, and what about you, Shai? So what was it like for you?
For me, when I met Journey's dad, he was a really kind person. He had a strong, like he knew who he was. In our situation, he just didn't want to be a father. He chose not to have kids. And so, you make choices and, there's consequences of the choices that you make. And when I had Journey, I already had the idea of, no matter what, I'm going to be there for my daughter. I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure she's going to be a strong person because I myself too was raised by a single mother and my grandma. Mm-hmm. She worked in a city totally far away from us, and my grandma raised us, and my grandma helped out raising me and my 2 younger sisters. And so I didn't really know my dad, and he passed away when I was 13. And so I didn't get that chance to kind of create that bond and that healthy relationship with him. and kind of get to know him and just kind of understand, you know, where I came from. And I just watched my mom grow up, you know, doing what she had to do to take care of us. And I knew that if I was in that situation, that I would have that same mentality. It was to do whatever it takes to take care of your kid, no matter what. You know, the focus doesn't go on the absent parent, you know, it goes on your kid. And so from that moment that, you know, she chose me to be her mom, you know, I committed myself to her. And, you know, I gave her, my promise was to give her kind of a life full of love and positivity. And I've remained pretty committed to that. And, you know, I have a lot of help from my sisters and a lot of my friends, and actually like a lot of the kids that I work with. I remember my daughter was little, and so my teenagers that are teenagers now, they were little, and so they would watch her for me. And so I wasn't completely alone, but, you know, I had that headstrong of, you know, involving the community like in a positive way. Even though things happened the way they did, I chose to kind of take control of the outcome instead of making it a negative space for my daughter. I decided to make it a positive one by just, you know, keep on surrounding her with love and positivity. And I worked really hard to commit to that.
Awesome. So what are some of the things, like, so if you had a chance to talk to some of the young people, you know, that might be going through this, you know, that might, you know, not have the other person there to help them, or, you know, not have another helper, you know, what is some advice that you guys can share with those single parents out there?
I would say for one is like something like Shai said, is like the focus isn't onto the other parent anymore that doesn't want to be around. You know, you got to learn to let go of that situation, because you can't force somebody to do something that they don't want to do, you know, because in the beginning, you know, of both situations, you know, you want it to work for you, for the kids, you know, because it's not something that you ever think that, you know, you don't have a kid to be a single parent. You know, anybody that does that is kind of selfish in a way, you know. But you got to learn to, in a way, forgive the other parent for their choices, you know what I mean? And be able to realize, like I said, you have to put the child first, you know. It doesn't matter what the parent chooses to do, where they're at, you know, who they're with, or anything like that. You got to learn to just putting your focus on the kid. Because once you learn that the kid is a priority, then it sucks, because sometimes, you know, being in a relationship and being in a long relationship and then having to choose to walk away, you know, it's kind of like a loss. You know, you given so many years, 5-6 years of your life, and then it just changes dramatically. So it's like losing a person that's still there physically, but you can't be with them. But like I said, you got to learn that the happiness, you know, with me is, I'm grateful and I'm happy to be laying with my kids. You know, they're waking up with me, them going to sleep with me, you know. And I hear things about, you know, either one's mom, you know, and then I'm just like, well, at the end of the day, my kids are here with me and they're happy. So that's all that I'm worried about, you know. So one thing I would say is learn to just, I guess, let go of the other person, you know, and knowing that you have to put your child first, not necessarily like, you know, letting them go as being a father or anything like that, but letting them go and creating safe spaces for you and your child, you know, creating those safe spaces. So if the parent does want to come back, that there is a safe zone and that there are barriers rather than just hurting the kid. Because, you know, my oldest, like I said, he's 12 years old now. And for the last 4 to 5 years, I've had full custody of him. But, you know, even before that, since he was about 2 years old, I've been going back and forth with mom in courts and stuff like that, you know. And now it's just, she reaches out, she'll do things, here and there. I can't ask for anything more, but then I have to learn also too to protect, my kids, because what they think is, happiness and, what's going on at mom's house. And just because she has her other kids and going on doesn't mean that it's necessarily a positive environment. So you have to learn to set those boundaries and barriers to protect your kids, because as I said, it's not about you, it's not about the mom, the dad anymore. It's about the kids and what's going to protect them and make them happy and for their future.
Shai, did you want to give your input then?
Yeah. So a big thing for me, Journey has a very absent father. He's never met her. So I didn't really have the experience to have to kind of handle creating a healthy relationship with the other parent. For me, it took a lot of forgiveness towards him, because in the exchange of kind of letting him know what was going on, there was a lot of hateful and negative words said. And he said a lot of things that were really hurtful. And as soon as he said them, it was my intention to just straight up forgive him right away. I'm like, kind of reclaiming that power. You don't want to give them that power if, they just want to talk bad about you. And so a lot of that for me would be just forgiveness for him for making the choice that he wanted to make, and acknowledging that he's on his own journey, his own spiritual healing journey, his own growing journey. And if he chooses to want to create a relationship with Journey, like later on down the road, then I'm totally gonna welcome him to create that relationship, because, I grew up without my dad, and the absence was really impactful for me. And so I kind of want to create the space to where Journey can make her own healthy and strong decisions toward how she thinks about her dad. So for me, it took a lot for me to forgive him and then forgive myself for allowing, somebody to interrupt my space like that. Because I like to be around positive people. I like to be around, happy people, and to allow somebody who had such like a hatred for me, because a lot of the blame was my fault. You kind of have to allow those feelings to be expressed, and then, allow it to just pass and not, carry that in your heart. So for me, forgiveness was a huge moment when deciding, okay, am I gonna try to, not be a statistic to where people think of baby mamas as, this horrible being just trying to, not make a positive impact. I want to be my own person, my own parent, and kind of create my own space for just me and Journey. So for me, I think just learning how to forgive and learning how to understand what you're feeling and why you're feeling that way, and then also understand where they're at in their journey, and then kind of acknowledge where you're at in your journey, because it's two completely different things.
Yeah, and I think too, like Shai said, it's not just about forgiving the person, it's forgiving yourself, because you live with this guilt of like, you wish you had it this way, or you wish you could have did things differently, but you realize that, you can turn a negative into a positive, like forgiving yourself, for thinking that you could have did things differently or stuff like that. You, like I said, you can't make people choose what they want to choose. Only thing you can do is forgive yourself. And when you do things like that, it shows your kids how to handle situations when you do, in the future. It shows them that when you are given a negative situation, that you just keep going, and you keep, striving to do what you have to do for the next day. You can't just keep looking back, because you're always going to keep looking back. You're always going to keep missing something where you're always looking backwards. So like I said, time goes by fast, like our kids are growing. I remember you know, Shy's kid being a baby, and she remembers mine. You know, time is going by fast, and you know, like I'm grateful to know that I haven't missed it, the time from them. You know, my kids are gonna grow up and they're gonna realize that they had a dad, and you know, having you guys into their life, and like you said, you know, you can bring positive things into their life. Family isn't always blood. You know, that's something that I've learned is you can create family, you can create community everywhere. You know, so that's also one thing that is doing. It's like Shai said, you gotta teach them to be around positive things, teach them that they are loved, you know, regardless of if it is a parent or if it is a, you know, a somebody, but that they are loved regardless, you know, that you don't have to be blood to be loved. You know, you can love somebody unconditionally just by, you know, being around them, you know, and knowing them. That's one thing that I want to do, is showing them is that you always can be loved, and there's always love out there. You don't, you know, you got to love yourself and to find love to attract that, you know.
Mm. Yeah, and I just want you guys to know too, like, you know, as you guys are talking, I'm reading through the chats, and Tina Norman said, keep yourself strong, healthy, focusing on growing with your children. Pray, work hard, and never give up. Keep positive and love yourself and children. Love you, your life, your future. So, you know, and I think that's something, you know, just sharing that is that, you know, we as the Native Wellness Institute, we're always trying to support, you know, young people, and definitely you two are two of the young people that we've supported, and we've, you know, we've helped as much as we can, you know, and embraced you. And you know, I think it's really important, you know, to have a discussion about what are some of the things that happened in your life that you've been able to heal from, because I think it's really important that if we don't heal from our traumas and our hurt, then our children will take it on for us. Our children will try to take on those burdens for us. And so, you know, it's so important that we do our own healing work. So can you guys talk about a little bit, you know, what is the healing work that you've done in your life, and how you've done that, you know, so that your children don't take on that pain?
So some of the things that I've been able to heal from throughout the years would be just, you know, sexual abuse, being, you know, molested as a child, being raped, just a lot of really, really heavy things growing up that kind of try to take control of my spirit, which is one of the reasons why I'm super grateful growing up through the Native Wellness Institute, because I learned how to move through those feelings and those emotions, and acknowledge that pain and that trauma that I've gone through growing up. And I didn't want Journey to have to suffer from that, because I couldn't figure that out. You know, I didn't want to portray that onto Journey and, you know, kind of, you know, take it out on her, because she doesn't deserve that. She's worth more than, you know, anything that I could ever commit to, as in healing, because I healed because of her. You know, she's one of the reasons. I like to say that, you know, she's the one that saved my life, because she came to me at a time where I was going through a lot of really, really tough stuff. And, you know, it took a lot to get through and to understand the kind of journey that I was going to go towards, based on what was trying to become of me. There's just a lot, like, you know, now that I think of it, like, you know, not knowing who my dad was, you know, watching my mom go through things that she didn't want us to go through. You know, that quote where it goes, you know, it ran in my family until it ran into me. My mom was one of those people who stopped the cycle, and she stopped the cycle of abuse and alcoholism, and I've watched her go through so much. Like, I've watched her get beaten by, my sister's dad. And I'm really glad that my younger sisters at that time, they were too young to remember that, but I seen it. And she would always tell me that she didn't want us to go through what she went through. And so she chose to stop the cycle. And so she fought really hard to raise us in a good way. And that really started that cycle of healing. And so my mom has had some bad blood with my grandma. And so it took a while for her to acknowledge that pain that was in between them, because my mom was a foster child. And so she had a hard time to forgive my aunt and allow my aunt to raise us. And so that took a lot of strength out of her to be able to kind of break through those barriers that she had up. And the healing that she has done has been just awesome to, watch her just like her transformation is just amazing of how she was able to heal from her traumas. That way it didn't portray onto me and my sisters. And so when she started her cycle of healing, that kind of continued through me and my sisters. And so we didn't get to experience, being beaten or, letting men beat us, or, suffering from alcoholism or being adopted out. We didn't have to suffer from any of that because my mom was strong enough to make that first choice. And so that helped me form of like how I look at relationships, how I look at people, and how I allow people in my spaces. I knew just watching my mom that I'm not gonna let nobody hurt me. Like I would never let nobody put their hands on me, that if I had to do it by myself, I'd be strong enough to. That, that love I have for my daughter is really strong and it's really powerful. I think that continued into my healing journey of moving through like the losses that I've had, the grief that I was carrying, and being able to take control of that and kind of take my power back. It was really like an honoring spirit for me to do, because my daughter doesn't have to deal with that. She knows what love is. She knows what love is. She knows what positivity is. She knows how strong she is and how beautiful she is. And you can see her healing spirit is really strong when she talks to other people, and when she thinks about other people, and she cares about other people. And I want to say just had a bigger impact when my mom first made that choice, because her healing became my healing, and then my healing isn't going to traumatize my daughter. I think there's just a lot that I went through kind of growing up that I knew I didn't want my daughter to go through. So when I acknowledged that, I had that power to find that spirit in me and then work through those things. And so I'm super grateful for, my healing journey up to this far, and being able to acknowledge what I went through and kind of choose how I react to it. It's hard work when you have to do your own healing, and then have to be a mom and sister and auntie, and but it's all with a purpose. And sometimes your pain comes with a purpose, and you don't realize that until way down the road.
I guess for me too, like, before I start, like Shai said, is you have to learn to put those traumas in the front of you and face those traumas head on, and like Shai said, I was part of the Native Wellness Institute since I was maybe 13, 14. So, a little over 20 years now, before when Jolene was given executive director. I remember I was there, we were there, and, as young, like Shai said, you have to break the cycle. And with me, I feel like I'm the one breaking the cycle in my generations, and one thing I learned is that it only takes one thing or one person or one day to change, a lot of things, from, I've seen these things where, I think it was Queen Latifah, where they were going back and tracing her roots and things like that, from her ancestry and her DNA. And they found a piece of paper, and it was like her great, 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 great grandparents, free, saying that she was a free slave, and that one piece of document changed the future for Queen Latifah and her, her generations, so, it only takes one person to change that. And like, I feel like, I'm that one person that's trying to change it for my kids right now. My family still has healing and things that they need to do. I guess with me and a lot of things that I had to face, same thing as Shai, physical abuse, mental abuse, sexual abuse, all growing up, emotional abuse. Even sexual abuse by my grandfather, at the time. And then, as being a young man and then reaching out to my dad about the situation. Like I said, my dad was iffy. He was, he chose drugs a lot, and I remember, as a boy telling my dad, what his dad was doing to me, and my dad's words, and I still remember this, was, if you tell your mom, she's never going to let you see me again. So until I was 18 years old, I held that in from my, my mom, and never told my mom that, you know what I mean? And, but that only made me angry as a kid and things like that. It wasn't something that I learned to heal from. But being with the Native Wellness Institute, you learn that you aren't your past, you aren't the things that other people do, you are your own person. So I am not that person that, that stuff that happened to me, even that person I was last year, I'm not that same person. You change, you evolve, I can say that, in the last 10 years, I've probably literally had to pick up, I would say, pick up and start a new life. I had to leave home, from exclusion in my community. Things happened with my younger brothers, and I remember being in San Diego at the Bahia. This is when we were on the tops up there, and, expressing, that my brothers were, this is teenagers, that my brothers were getting involved in gangs in the community. It was our cousins, it was friends, it was close relatives. So it was there, it was there, but my brothers got more into it and things like that. I remember making, being sad about the situation and not knowing what's going to happen. And, from that to losing my younger brother at the beginning of this year, that's a whole loss and thing itself. But it's just about, like, they said, healing, picking up and learning that you have to make the day better for them. And you don't want to make them feel any type of way. You want to make sure that they're happy, that their happiness is taken care of. From being with the Native Wellness Institute and, being able to communicate and go through things, it helped me to address the traumas and things that I had going on in my life. And even with the relationship, you got to learn to love yourself, like learn to love yourself, the things that you do, the things that you want, the things that you achieve. It's not necessarily, you protect the person, like me vocally speaking right now, that's me, but the inner person that's talking inside of my head, that's whispering inside of my head, is the person that I need to heal and make sure that that person is healed. Because if that person inside of me is not healed, it's going to show in my actions and my character and just my energy, and you got to learn to love yourself, to love to love anyone. I guess that's one thing you got to do, is learn that you are enough, that you are worthy enough, that you are, good enough to be their parent. They chose you to be their parent. They chose you to protect them, to give them, I'm looking this way because my kids are playing in the pool right now, but it's just, it's doing those things, but having to go through those things, but also having not to let them know that you're going through those things. My kids are happy, like, my kids are very secure, my kids are very content, their energy, and anyone that sees them loves them. My youngest is 5 now. He surprises me every day how he is. And we were walking and they were playing the hoverboards and stuff outside the house, and people are walking their dogs where we live, and he's like, hi, have a beautiful day, like, you know. And that's my 5-year-old son, you know. He likes to make people happy. He likes to make me happy. That's the one thing, like I said, is even if I'm just sitting there, he will come and do something to make me happy or to get me his attention, you know. And that's, like I said, that's more than any relationship to me, you know, because that's unconditional love right there. That's, you know, that's what, you know, you work towards. You know, you want your kids to be happy. You want them to be secure. You want them to be content, you know. Going through, like I said, those things, it's making sure that they don't go through them, you know. And, you know, like sexual abuse, you know, for one, I can say, you know, I know from at least 3 to 4 generations back that's been an issue in my maternal side, you know. And like I said, I want to choose to break that cycle. And how do I choose to break it? Is make sure that I'm there, that they can come to me, that they can talk to me, that they know that they're loved, that there's somebody gonna, you know, that they can talk to regardless of anything, you know. So it's just, it's insane to think, you know, if I was my kid's age at this time, I wouldn't have think that, you know, that it would be possible for me to give this to them, you know, because I didn't have it. I didn't have any of this, you know. And I'm grateful for what they have. I'm grateful for the things that, you know, that I've given them. I'm grateful for the Institute. I'm grateful for everything, because like I said, I want to heal myself so that way my kids we don't have to heal them, you know. It's better to teach them to be men now than, you know, teach them to be a, you know, man later when they're all grown up, you know. You got to teach them to love themselves, love everything, you know. It's life.
Wow, thank you, Ray Ray and Shy, for sharing and being vulnerable. And, you know, that's what a lot of the people who are watching this today, you know, they're just grateful for your vulnerability and for your strength to be able to share with people that, you know, that these are the things that you've been through, but, you know, but you're making your children's lives better. And, you know, I have so much respect for you. And, you know, so when you think about, you know, hopefully one day, you know, you might find a partner that can share your life with them and be able to, you know, help you to raise your children. You know, what kind of person would you be looking for if you were looking for somebody?
Trying to set us up now.
Right? That's why you asked us to come on here, LoVina.
Well, I just, you know, well, it's important, you know, because I have family members who are single and you know, and they're looking for somebody. We're like, well, don't introduce them to your kid right away, you know.
No, 100%. That's one thing, you know, and I think too, being, like I said, I'm a single dad of 2, you know. I have 2 different partners, and, you know, after the first one, after the whole situation, I chose to be by myself, and I chose to just, you know, focus on myself, which I was doing. And I would say I was pretty happy, you know. And then I chose to get in another relationship with, you know, a second partner right after that. And I knew I didn't want the relationship. Like in the beginning, I was like, no, this isn't something I want, you know. And then it just kept going and going and going. And eventually it led to us being together, you know. For now, I've been single probably for the past 3 years. And it's just because, like I said, I choose to focus my time and energy on my kids. I see, you know, the mothers of my kids, you know, they're both, the oldest one, that one I have full custody is, and you know, she has 3 children after him, you know, and like, and I still have them. And then the other one, you know, she's in a relationship with another guy and stuff like that. But my relationship with them is, you know, every day, you know, it's not me building a relationship. So for me, I think it's hard because, like, I do need somebody that's going to help me with, not necessarily help me because I can do my kids myself, but just necessarily like make me better as a person. You know, I've been in relationships where I felt like I've been a crutch, you know, like where I've had to take care of the person, or I have to, you know, I wanted to try to make this person better. I wanted to try to do this, or I wanted to, you know. But like I said, in the past 3 years, I've just been focusing and doing myself, you know. And I had to be, I mean, it's hard for me now because I'm so independent with myself. You know, I've started a business in 2019, and so about 2 to 3 years ago now, and I'm doing pretty well. So a lot of my time and energy has been on my kids. You know, we were in quarantine the whole last year. My kids were with me. They were doing homeschooling. I'm working, but we've been content. So like, I'm a single dad running my own business with my kids with me 24/7. You know, like I said, they're with me now. So it's gonna be. I don't know. Like I say, it's hard because I sit here and think about it. What kind of person? But I would just need somebody that's gonna like motivate me more and make me a better person than I am. Like kind of just push me even more than I'm already pushing myself, because I just learned that I can't take care of anybody else besides my kids anymore. You know, I'm not gonna, you know, like, and that's from anything, you know, it's mental, physical, it's everything. It's like, you know, we're talking about putting those traumas ahead of you. You know, you have somebody that's trauma informed, you know, somebody that's, you know, so just things like that, I would say. It's just because I don't know, it's scary, you know, and it's scary because of my kids. I don't want to introduce them something, you know. I did it with my oldest, you know, I introduced him to a new woman. We were together 4 or 5 years, had another kid, but you know, now my kid lost his biological mom's not in his life, and now the stepmother who was in his life from like 3 to 8 isn't in his life anymore, you know. So it's hard for me to think that I would do that again to him or even to my younger one now, especially when, like I said, I'm very content at life right now, you know, and what it's going and what it's bringing me and things like that. Because I can't have, you know, I can't put my time and energy into something else right now, right? Like, unless, like I said, it's a dual communication, a dual thing, you know.
So basically what I hear you saying, Ray, like they need to have a certification from care. They need to have like proven on their sheet, not a rap sheet, but a sheet that says, I've completed the Native Wellness Institute training of trainers and healthy relationships. I've completed wellness and
I've seen so many come in, but nobody ever comes back, you know. But no, it's like I said, it's just learning to be happy with yourself, you know. And I've seen, you know, board members on the Native Wellness Institute that chose to be single for, you know, numbers of years and found their partners that it's a healthy relationship. And that's something like I would want now. I want a healthy relationship. I want something that's gonna bring me and my kids, you know, where it's something good and positive rather than just draining relationships, you know. Like I need just, I don't know, activeness and readiness to learn and just to grow rather than just being content with life, you know, because life changes daily, you know, everything's changing. Look how we changed our lives in the last year, you know. So it's just somebody that can learn to adapt. And
so what I'm hearing you say is that you're gonna start a healthy single natives page for.
We're gonna have an app.
It's gonna be an app.
Create an app for healthy natives.
Yeah.
Single. Awesome.
You would have to have the training from the institute to get approved for the.
Along with
a sit down for an hour with Jolene at least, you know. But yeah, like I said, it's just someone that, you know, that could bring the best out of me and my kids, you know, that's, and someone I could bring around the institute. Just kidding.
Well, we like having weddings with all of us there. And
yeah, it's nice, you know, all of our get-togethers. Any reason to get together, right?
Yep. So what about you, Shai? So what do all these young men out there need to be thinking about before they start trying to find you on Facebook or our TikTok or whatever?
First, don't look. I'm very, very cautious about who I bring around Journey, and just like Ray Ray, it's the same thing. You want somebody that's willing to do that healing work and, you know, help you grow and help you be better, and you know, somebody that's not gonna be so negative and so toxic to your life, because, you know, we both had similar experiences to where we've had that in our lives, and we don't want it. And it's been, I think about 3 years for me too. I'm just so focused on journey and, you know, doing my healing work and, you know, getting myself better, and just being the best role model I can be for my daughter. I think it's going to take a lot of wholeness before somebody can add to mine and Journey's life.
Mm.
I'm not really looking, so I'm just like kind of just focused on myself and my daughter. And, you know, that's a hard habit to break out of trying to think of having to think about somebody else. I've just been so focused on, you know, creating a good, like, healthy space for Journey. And I don't really have that time to kind of try to think about what I want out of life, and kind of, you know, the things that I used to want like a long time ago growing up isn't the same things that I'm interested in looking into now. I just think just pretty much the same as Rary said too, just being informed and being that willing person to grow and to learn and to, you know, just be a positive person, only adding to our lives instead of just taking anything away from our spirit. Yeah, I think pretty much the same thing as Ray said, you know, we're in kind of, you know, in the same boat, you know, we're like, our intentions are the same for our kids. So I think that, you know, I'd rather them work on themselves and be whole before even trying to pursue their own healthy relationship. I think it's just going to take a lot to kind of impact me in that way.
Well, so do you guys mind if I found a couple pictures? Do you guys mind if I share some pictures?
Of us or of like potentials? Just
Not potentials.
Making a list.
I have people messaging me and want to share pictures with you guys. No, I just want, because you guys are doing such a great job talking about your beautiful children. I just wanted to share a couple pictures about of your children. So can you guys see that?
Yeah.
So that's Journey, and that's Shy's little girl. Let's see. I was trying to, like, for some reason I couldn't get them to go up. Okay, so now let's see. Can you see that picture or not?
I see Shy still.
I still see me.
Okay, so I think I have to stop share, and then I have to go back to share. Oh yeah, okay, so, and this, I thought this picture was beautiful, just so you know.
That's one of my favorite pictures.
Can you guys see that?
That's me and my boys.
They're getting so big.
So I just wanted to share, you know, these are your children that we've been talking about. And so this picture about makes me cry, just by the way. But when you think about, you know, these are the lives that the Creator gave to you. They're sacred lives that Creator gave to you, that all of us have as our children. And so when you think about that, you know, what is the most important thing that you want to teach your children when they grow up, and, you know, and you're sitting in like my shoes and you're saying, wow, that's my child. Like, you know, what is it that you want to have taught them?
I would say, you know, one thing for me is compassion and empathy. You know, like I want them to be able to know that for themselves, but for other people, like I said, the little one, he makes people happy. Hey, have a nice day. I want them to be somebody that, that their friends or somebody looks up to them and they're like, they're the ones that are going to succeed. I want to make them know that, because even with me, I'm very a compassionate person, even with friends. My friendships are genuine. I'm genuinely, I want my friends to be better. I want their lives. I want to help them in any way I can. Even now, I'm working. Like I said, I'm having a business, and one of my best friends, like her sister and her niece, are working for me. So being able to help people, like I said, and employing them, and doing those things, I think, like I said, it helps and it makes it easier because it's showing my kids as well, that it's just showing them that you can always bring somebody up, regardless of any situation you're in, like I just want to show them that they can be young men by themselves. It's them to make those choices. It's them to, choose what they want and what their destiny is going to be in life. Once, just like us, once we're at an age where, we're on our own, we're going to make our own choices. And I just would want them to make choices that work for them and work, for those around them, like I said, being compassionate of people around them, making people around them better, that's, even if it's just your energy or your smile or anything like that, I feel like that when I come to you guys, even if it's talking for a couple of minutes, it's just leaving with, oh, I haven't seen them in forever. Like, it was good talking to them, that's just for them to have compassion and empathy towards people.
Awesome.
I think for me, I saw this when Journey was really little. I ran across this quote saying, little girls with dreams become women with vision. And so ever since that, it really impacted me. And I'm like, oh, that's really awesome. I want to raise Journey, to dream, because there's so many times where our kids, they kind of lose sight of that, and they kind of lose what it means to dream and what it means to think about something bigger than yourself and, become something like awesome. And so just teaching her to be herself and, be goofy, be funny, be like being present and kind of acknowledging her feelings and kind of teaching her how to navigate through some of the feelings that she has a hard time with, and, kind of just being present with her, like dancing with her, laughing with her, asking her to tell me funny stories, just anything that inspires her to think bigger, think of something else, to kind of inspire her to be creative of, a story, or be creative of a little dance move she made or some little song that she makes, and just kind of inspiring that creativity in her to grasp hold of that as early as she can, to so that one day those little dreams that she had, she starts taking that and turning those into visions. Like, all right, my mom was an awesome mom. I'm going to be a good mom. I'm going to graduate college. I'm going to do this for my community. I'm going to help my people in this way. I'm going to be a good sister, a good brother, a good, a lot of those things where it kind of starts creating what she wants to become. I think just by teaching her how to be confident in who she is like, it's becoming really interesting to watch her grow. She's such a character. She's full of love and full of positivity, kind of teaching her self-worth. We do like the morning affirmations, and I have her, tell herself she's beautiful, she's strong, she's confident. And so we do that every morning when I'm brushing her hair, or when she's having a tough day, and I'm like, do you know how loved you are? Do you know how much I love you? And so, she has a she's doing really awesome at recognizing, okay, you know, it's not going to be just a bad few moments. It's not going to ruin my whole day. You know, she has a good habit of kind of correcting herself and making herself feel better right away. And she kind of does that for other people too. I remember when we had the coronavirus last year, and she stood out the window, and she loves, like, she's a people person. She loves people. She stood out the window, and every car that drove by, she was like, hi, hi. Like, you know, just waving at somebody, or somebody who was walking up the street. She's like, hey, how are you? I love you. And I was like, who are you talking to? And she's like, I don't know. Somebody walking up the road. And so throughout that time that we were in quarantine, people would honk their horns, or they'll stop by, or, you know, take a walk by our house and say, hi, Journey. You know, Journey really loved, you know, interacting with people, and just to watch her become who she is and so confident in who she is. And you can tell that it's like her personality is going to be really strong. So just kind of encouraging that creativity and just celebrating them pretty much, you know, anything that they learn and anything that they want to learn or they think they know, just celebrating that, you know, it's been a super, like, it's awesome just to watch her grow and learn and become. And I think just acknowledging her creativity and cheering her on no matter what has been pretty gratifying so far.
Wow. That's so amazing, you know, that you both have been able to just embrace and know what you want for your children, you know, especially when it wasn't, you know, it happened, and, you know, but you guys have been able to just go with it. So I'm really grateful that you guys were able to join us today. And is there any last words that you just want to share with people who, you know, just any last words that you want to share today for as we get ready to close up this power hour?
I would say just remember to, like, keep moving forward, you know, even though that, you know, if today may seem hard, that there's tomorrow. And one thing that, like I said, you know, every choice and decision that you make impacts you and, you know, your future for the next year. You know, that's one thing I tell a lot of people, friends, family, is, you know, do it, because you don't know what your situation is going to be like next year, and it could benefit you, it may not. You know, it's just knowing that there is a brighter day, that, you know, that people have gone through things, people are going through things, and there's a lot worse things that could happen. You know, just learn to push forward, keep moving on, keeping that positive energy, and showing them how to work through those things, you know, especially as a young person. You know, even with me, like I said, losing my brother and stuff, it's showing them that, you know, you still have to move on, you can still grieve, but, you know, you have to keep moving forward, you have to keep doing those, you know, looking ahead. Otherwise, then you're going to be stuck in the past, you know. So look at tomorrow as this is a new day, that it's going to change, you know, that it's only going to change if you want it to change, and your mentality of it is to change daily, you know. You have to put your mind to it. You really do. One thing it is putting your mind to it and keeping it focused on it. Like, another thing with me is, like I said, it's by putting your mind to things. You know, I was a nail biter for the last 20, 30 years of my life since I remember. And last quarantine, like I said, it meant mentally and stuff like that. You know, I have nails on my bed now. And like I said, there's times I still put in my mouth, but then it's reminding myself, hey, why am I doing that? You know, it's always keeping it in your head, you know, like just keeping those in your head, you know, the positive, hey, I want to be positive. I want to be somewhere successful. I'm doing it for them, you know, just keeping that mentality in your head 24/7, even when you're down, you know. And when you're down, knowing that I'm down now, but I'm going to be up tomorrow, you know, like this is only a temporary, emotions are temporary, you know, you can change them how you please to fit, you know. So that's what I would say, just keep going, keep trying, keep pushing. You know, as a single parent, you know, it's not about you anymore, it's about the kids. You know, even when you are hurt and you are, you know, in pain, you know, take a moment to step to the side and breathe and take it all in, and realize that this is only going to make you a better person and the children, like, that's what I would say.
I think for me, I would say just keep getting up, keep like, don't let one bad day ruin the whole week. You know what I'm saying? Like, just, you have to really dig deep sometimes, because there's a lot of things that people carry that they don't talk about. And sometimes taking it moment by moment is the best that they can do that day. And so for me, I even just tell my daughter this too before she goes to school, like, do your best, no matter what, do your best to do good, do your best to make good choices. And I have this little quote that I have on my door every time I walk out that door. It says, your survival rate is 100%. Like, you got back up every single time. You survived this day, you survived this tough moment, you survived those heavy thoughts and those heavy feelings, and you're doing amazing. Your survival rate, got to inspire you to keep going and keep getting up and keep moving forward and keep choosing, things out of love and out of positivity and out of that person you want to become in the future. Just keep moving forward and do what you got to do, and send people love if you're thinking about, hurtful things and situations. And that's a part of that forgiveness that, a lot of us practice is, sending them love and sending them light when those things try to take hold of us. Just keep going. Don't give up. We got your back. We're rooting for you. You got people here that know what you're going through, that have experienced things in their own lives, and so don't think you're ever alone. Just keep moving forward with love and good intentions, and you'll get through that next day, and your survival rate will still be 100%. But yeah, keep going.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining today. Thank you everybody who's watching the Power Hour, and we just send you good vibes and good love, and good luck finding that somebody. Hey, jokes. Bye guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.